You want to know how it all went wrong? Fine. I will tell you exactly how we, the mighty Kravik Empire, managed to provoke the single most terrifying response in galactic history. My name is Vorn, and I was second tactical officer aboard the war carrier Relentless Dawn when we made first contact with Earth. It started out perfectly, you understand. We had just finished annexing the Yalmer system, our 47th conquest in 2 cycles. The Council was pleased. Our fleet was unstoppable. 300 vessels strong, armed with plasma cannons that could crack planets and shields that had never been breached. Never. So when our scouts detected a quiet little blue world on the edge of the Orion Arm, we figured it would be like all the others. Primitive civilization. Maybe some chemical rockets if we were unlucky. A quick show of force. They surrender. We strip their resources and move on. Standard procedure. Commander Drask, may his tentacles rot in the void, decided we did not even need the full fleet. He took 12 ships. 12. Against an entire planet. You see the arrogance? The absolute stupidity? I was there on the bridge when we entered their system. Their moon was pockmarked with ancient impacts, their asteroid belt sparse and picked over. Signs of early industrialization dotted their home planet. Radio signals everywhere, chaotic and unencrypted. Drask laughed. Actually laughed. They still use electromagnetic transmission. He gurgled through his breathing apparatus. This will take an hour, maybe 2. We sent the standard ultimatum. Surrender or be destroyed. Simple. Clean. Effective on 46 previous occasions. Their response came back in under 3 minutes. A single word, no. Not even a threat. Not demands. Not negotiations. Just no. Drask found this hilarious. He ordered the weapons array to charge. Target their capital cities, he said. Make an example, he said. Then they will understand, he said. That is when everything went sideways. Our sensors started screaming. Energy signatures. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. Coming from everywhere. Their moon, their asteroid belt, even from what looked like empty space itself. Things were powering up. Big things. Sir, I reported, my voice sacs constricting with confusion, multiple contacts appearing across the system. Classification unknown. They are just turning on. Probably mining stations. Drask waved a manipulator dismissively. Civilian infrastructure. Ignore them. But they were not civilian infrastructure. The first thing that uncloaked was 3 times the size of our war carrier. It just materialized out of nothing about 50,000 kilometers from our position. Hull plating that looked like it had survived 1,000 battles. Weapons ports that yawned open like hungry mouths. And then another appeared. And another. Within minutes, we counted 167 ships. Some were small, barely cruiser class. Others were absolute monsters that made our capital ships look like escape pods. They had been hiding, waiting, using technology we could not even detect until they decided to reveal themselves. What in the ancestral spawning pools? Drask whispered. Then we received another transmission. A human appeared on our screens. Female, if I understood their bizarre binary biology correctly. Gray streaks in her hair, lines on her face that suggested age. She wore a dark uniform with symbols we could not read. Behind her, we could see what looked like a command center, all glowing displays and organized chaos. I am Fleet Admiral Rebecca Torres of the United Earth Defense Force, she said calmly, like she was discussing weather patterns. You are in violation of Terran space. You have threatened our home world. You have exactly 1 chance to retreat with your lives. This is your only warning. Drask, the absolute fool, sneered. You hide ancient relics in your system and think that frightens us? Those ships look like they belong in a museum. I could destroy. Wrong answer. Torres interrupted. What happened next still gives me nightmares. Those ancient ships moved. By all the gods of the deep void, they moved like nothing I had ever seen. They did not accelerate gradually like civilized vessels. They just went from stationary to combat speed instantly. Physics should not allow that. Our computers could barely track them. The lead ship, something they called Valkyrie, opened fire first. Not with plasma or missiles or anything we recognized. It fired what their database later told us were electromagnetic railguns. Primitive kinetic weapons. Chunks of metal accelerated to relativistic speeds. The first round hit Drask's shield at 0.98% light speed. The shield held for exactly 0.3 seconds before it collapsed completely. The round punched through our hull like it was made of wet tissue paper, went through 7 decks, exited the other side, and kept going into space still glowing red-hot. We did not even have time to return fire. 5 more ships opened up, not all at once in some disorganized barrage. No, they fired in sequence, precisely timed, each round hitting exactly where the previous one had weakened our armor. It was surgical, mathematical, terrifying. Evasive maneuvers. Drask shrieked, all his earlier confidence evaporating faster than water in vacuum. Too late. Our engines took 3 direct hits. Propulsion systems went offline. We were dead in space, and they had only been shooting for 7 seconds. The other 11 ships in our assault group tried to scatter. Tried being the key word here. You have to understand, these were veteran crews who had fought in dozens of campaigns. They knew evasive patterns, combat formations, everything the Academy teaches about void warfare. None of it mattered. The human fleet split into precise attack groups. 3 ships per Kravik vessel, moving in coordination that suggested they had drilled these maneuvers 10,000 times. Maybe they had. How long had they been preparing for this? How long had they been watching us conquer our way across the galaxy, just waiting for us to make the fatal mistake of threatening them? The warcruiser Infinite Reach managed to get its plasma batteries online. It fired everything it had at the nearest human ship, something designated Thunderchild. Enough firepower to vaporize a small moon lit up the void between them. The human ship adjusted its trajectory by maybe 3 degrees. The plasma barrage missed completely. Not by much, but in void combat, a miss is a miss whether it is by 3 meters or 3,000 kilometers. Thunderchild returned fire with what their systems called missile pods. Hundreds of self-guided projectiles erupted from its flanks, each one maneuvering independently, each one thinking for itself apparently. Our point defense systems tried to engage. We shot down maybe 60% of them. The other 40% was more than enough. Infinite Reach came apart in a series of cascading explosions that probably killed the crew before they even knew what hit them. No survivors. We confirmed that later when we searched the debris field, assuming any of us would survive to do any searching. All ships, full retreat. Drask finally commanded, his voice sacs quivering with something I had never heard from him before. Fear. Pure, primal fear. But where exactly were we supposed to retreat to? Our engines were scrap metal. The other ships tried to jump to faster-than-light speeds, but the humans had thought of that too. Some kind of gravity distortion field snapped into place around the entire engagement zone. Jump drives simply would not engage. They had caged us in. Admiral Torres appeared on our screens again. Same calm expression. Same measured tone. Behind her, I could see human crew members working their stations with practiced efficiency. No panic. No excitement. Just professionals doing their jobs. Your fleet has been disabled, she stated flatly. Your weapons are offline. You have 2 choices. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated according to our laws of war, which I assure you are considerably more merciful than you deserve. Or continue fighting and be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to decide. Drask looked around the bridge. Sparks fell from damaged overhead systems. Half our crew was either dead or injured. Our tactical displays showed 10 of our 12 ships either destroyed or crippled. The 2 that remained operational were surrounded by human vessels that clearly outmatched them in every possible category. This is impossible, he muttered. They are primitives. We saw their development level. Chemical rockets. Radio waves. They should not have ships like this. Sir, I said quietly, checking the analysis our science officer had just sent through. These ships are old. Some of them date back 200 cycles at least based on their design signatures. They have been building this fleet for generations. They have been ready for us, or someone like us, for a very long time. That is when it hit me. Humans were not primitives who got lucky. They were paranoid geniuses who had looked up at their stars and decided that someday, someone would come for them. So they prepared. They built. They waited. And they hid everything so well that our scouts completely missed a military presence that could challenge our entire empire. They had played us perfectly. I surrender, Drask finally whispered. Torres nodded once. Wise choice. Deactivate all weapons systems and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will be met with immediate termination. So that is how the mighty Kravik Empire lost its first battle in 300 cycles. 12 ships, gone in under 20 minutes. And this was just their home defense fleet. Later, when we were prisoners in their holding facilities, We learned they had 6 more fleets like this one scattered throughout their system, plus shipyards building even more. The Council sent negotiators after that instead of warships. Suddenly, we were very interested in peaceful diplomatic relations with Earth. Funny how that works. Now I serve as a cultural liaison between our species. Part of my punishment, I suppose. Warning other ambitious empires not to make the mistake we did. Not to assume that just because a civilization looks primitive on the surface means they are unprepared underneath. Humans have a saying I learned recently. Speak softly and carry a big stick. We never heard them speak softly because we never bothered to listen. We just saw the stick when it was already smashing our fleet to pieces. So yes, that is how humanity stopped the Kravik expansion. Not with diplomacy, not with surrender. With overwhelming force applied with surgical precision by veterans who had been training for this exact scenario since before I hatched. Sleep well knowing that somewhere out there, humans are still building ships, still preparing, still waiting for the next fool who tries to cross the line. I really hope it is not you. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.